Hi, okay, sorry. I was yeah, I know. I was the starting soon screen was supposed to be on. I'm an idiot. I was doing a sound check with Annabelle. You weren't supposed to see me doing that. I mean, you caught me red-handed. I'm such a bad streamer. Okay, you guys are already all talking. What is going on here? Not me sitting in the Twitch chat waiting for you to laugh out loud. Wait, is this the lovely strings and pedals? I'm so excited. Yeah, so for context, I'm going to be doing an interview with Annabelle a little bit later in the stream. So I'm going to be streaming for 2 hours today. I'm going to have Annabelle on at in like about 45 minutes. But let me say hi to everyone. Layla, how are you doing, my dear? I was so excited to talk to you later. Anna, I just got done talking to you. So nice to see you already in the chat. What are you doing with your life? How are you already here? And let's see the whole vibe of the YouTube streams. I'm too degenerate for it. I think you'll allow me to take the space. No, you're the perfect amount of degenerate for it. I really appreciate there being a wide range of vibes and energies. I really like that. Let me change this. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. That's great. That's lovely. I stand that. I still need to go back and watch your full original interview. It's such a funny interview to watch in retrospect, knowing that I'm bipolar. Because there's so many times where I'm nodding sagely and I'm like, oh no way, that must be really hard to go through. And it's just like, you idiot, you are bipolar. Is it Cato? Cato? Am I saying it correctly? Hello, am I late? Just got the notification. You are a new username and avatar image to me. I don't think I've ever seen you before, even in comments. So, how'd you discover me? How are you doing? Am I saying your name wrong? I'm infamous for that. Thank you so much for stopping by, especially when the stream just started. That's so cool. Yeah, he was talking to me. Yes, exactly. Awkward. I know. You think I would be better at streaming, especially now that I've been streaming all the time. But no, I'm not any better at it than I used to be. Oh, okay. You're not an idiot. You don't talk about my friend that way. I'm just a silly goose. Maria, how are you doing? Hi, Chris. How are you in Argentina today? Is Argentina's weather holding up? I always talk about the weather. I don't know why. It's kind of lame, but it's been a beautiful day out. I got a little run in today. Nothing too long, but it was a lot of fun. Let's see what else. Oh wait, Layla, let's get a review on the shirt. What are we feeling in this shirt? I'm gonna give you context. This is probably in my top 5 favorite shirts that I own. So it's okay if you give it a low rating, but I still want a rating of the shirt, everyone. I'm doing this thing where I have an extensive collection of pattern button-ups, and I'm just gonna wear all of them throughout the streams. I have easily like maybe 10, 15 of them. That must be so hard. I don't know if that's a reference to. I need to catch up with the chat. 8.5 out of 10 today. I love the brighter colors on you. Okay, thank you so much. Did you see that I matched my shirt with the lights? I'm just gonna keep on doing that. I'm very proud of that. Those lights back there are just always gonna be yellow. Oh, saying hi to each other. Thank you. It's a Midwest thing, I think, talking about the weather. Yeah, like the Midwest, like required small talk, like talking about the weather. And if you all had kids, I would be asking about your kids, I guess. I don't know, but it is definitely a Midwest thing. The blues be looking good on them. Yeah, blue is my favorite color to wear. Green is still my favorite color, but I don't think green is a particularly good looking color on really anyone. Like especially like a bright green. I don't think it's a very flattering color to wear. So blue is by far my favorite color to wear. And then green is my general favorite color. Yes, it rained in New York too. I love it. You love the rain? Oh, it's a rainy day. Okay, I gotcha. Too late. I already did. You're late to the party. Yes, I am very late. The blue is solid. It's a rainy day. He needs a button up with a pattern of pics on him in his button ups. Yes, very meta. That would be such a meta shirt. But yeah, Kato. are you someone that's watched other videos of mine? I'm trying to recognize. Did you change your username? Who are you? Tell me more about you. All these lovely people I already know way too much about. I already know way too much about them. Also, Maria, if you want to tell me more about how you are doing, one of the things I really love learning about people is little pieces of lore. So, why the username Kato? That's such a unique username. Oh my god. Hold on. For you, Layla. For you. Okay. So fancy. Still haven't opened the window though. I do. mm, Speak of the devil. I may or may not have said button up of that color. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll bust it out next time. I've got a bright green T-shirt to wear during the summer reading challenge at the library. We'll see how that looks. Yikes. Cute cupcake, how are you doing? I remember you. A dark forest green would look lovely on you. Okay, thank you for the hype, y'all. But yeah, like a bright, like neon green. It's just like that's a hard color to pull off, and if someone can pull it off, all the more power to them. Uh, let's see. I think, I think a forest green, like earthy greens, I feel like they look good on people. Like a good earthy, like darker, very natural looking green. I think that looks great on people. But like the fluorescent green, like safety green, I don't know if that looks good on anyone. Yeah, of course I remember you, cute cupcake. The lore to your username is that people tell you that you look cute, or it's your favorite compliment, one of the two, and you like cupcakes. That is the lore behind cute cupcake. I remember. Yes, please, no, no lies about me. Well, wait. What do you mean, Layla? Do you well, I won't let the door hit myself on the way out of here. Dang, you're loved here. What? Uh be right back. Going to buy a highlighter green t-shirt to prove to East that it can't be pulled off. You know what, Layla? You're right. You would pull it off. Probably. And unironically, especially because you have such dark hair and then you have like fair features, you probably would look really good in a neon green t-shirt. So maybe I shouldn't be so exclusive with my language. I shouldn't talk in what's the word? Absolutes. There we go. I shouldn't talk in absolutes. So, today's stream, for those that are just joining, is going to be super chill. I just want to catch up with you all, have a conversation, see how you all are doing. Um, just chat about how my week's going, hear more about your all week. I've been doing so much Twitch lately, and I miss you all. I have such an amazing and lovely community on Twitch that I really adore. But Sundays are my day for you all, and I miss you all dearly. Twitch has been really interesting. I'll talk about that here in a second. But here in about 35 minutes, I'm going to bring Annabelle on. I think it was Liz. I also started the stream way earlier than normal, but I think it was Liz or maybe someone else that suggested they would like to see my interactions with friends. And so I thought it would be fun to have a series of bringing my friends on because I have so many amazing friends that I've reached out and asked if they would be willing to come on my stream with me and just do an interview and have a conversation back and forth. And luckily, I have a lot of friends that said they would be up for that. And so I'm going to test run it with Annabelle since she's already been on my channel. We'll see how we feel about it. We'll see whether it's enjoyable content, whether it's something that we want to continue. Because ultimately, what I would like to do more of is have other people on my channel and having conversations about their life and their experiences or their thoughts and beliefs and so on and so forth. And then I think it'd be cool to maybe have some of my like viewers or my community, like other people that I don't already have a very solid relationship with, come on and do interviews with me as well. I think that kind of dynamic would be a lot of fun and something to try out. So I'm gonna give it a test run with someone that I have a lot of trust in, which is Annabelle. I You said you already knew so much about us, so you wanted Cato. And oh, okay. I'm so slow. I'm slow in the draw. Chris has Italian vibes, so oceany colors work for him, I think. Oh, thank you. I think that's a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment. You were just the sweetest thing. I'm fine dealing with anxiety. Anxiety about what, Maria? I have been dealing with massive anxiety now that I turned 30. I'm dealing with a lot of existential crisis about what the fuck am I doing with my life. So that's been great. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been hard pushing through that. I have so many friends. Well, I do. I say that in a way of being very blessed. And I want to hear, Annabelle, you have so many friends as well. You have all your pen friends, you have your F1 friends, you have Yoast, you have buses friends. You have quite the extensive friend group as well. It's the arrogance for me. Whatever. Wow, didn't invite me, rude. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's a good. How do I say this? Um, I just glitched. Sorry, I've been very spacey today. Yeah, Anna Real, you're definitely another person that I would have on my channel as well. I don't. We just haven't had a chance to talk about it. I reached out to other people when we were having our calls to ask about it. But yeah, I would definitely have you on as well, especially since you're also a YouTube creator, and then we both just went through long breaks, and I think we'd have a really interesting conversation about what it's like to be a content creator in the mental health space, even though you and I are kind of very different in terms of what we talk about. I think that would be a really good conversation. Sorry, I just had a hard reset there. I think I'm still broken from yesterday's stream. It sounds super cute. Okay, I'm glad it's not a horrific idea. Hey Jade, how are you doing? Once again, I really like the photo even though it's old. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Aw. Looking forward to you interact with friends. Yeah, it should be an interesting vibe. I didn't mean to make you glitch. Well, I just don't want you to feel like you were like intentionally excluded. It wasn't like it was one of these very insecure things that I did, and like I asked a couple friends, totally expecting them to say no. And then I was really lucky to have everyone that I've asked so far say yes. And so, if you wanted to come on my channel, I would be honored to have you. I have a solid network of friends for sure. I have a graph of it. That is true. You do have a graph of it. Oh, generalized anxiety GAD, DSM-5. That would be really difficult to deal with. I'm glad. How do I no? Let's not put my foot in my mouth. I've struggled with a lot of things in my life, but having an anxiety disorder, predominantly like enough anxiety for it to be defined as something that's diagnosable, that would be really tough because I have friends that live with anxiety, and it controls so much of their life. And then when I do have my own anxiety attacks and like these moments of deep insecurity, it's just such a rough thing to deal with. Anxiety can be such a bitch. So I'm sorry you're going through that, Maria. Ooh, Wreck-It Ralph. Jade immediately back in it with the references that I don't get. I what would I do without you, Jade? I don't know. I think I'm too popular for your channel. Yeah, you have a way bigger following than the rest of my friends. So yes, you would be too popular. Whoosh. Yeah, no. Oh man, that one's not working either. My commands aren't working. Hi East, hi everyone. Hey Muncie, how's it going, Simone? Wait, is it okay if I use your government name as we say in America? Streamlabs should work on. I added Streamlabs as a moderator. Hold on, let me go. Let me go properly back to that. Oh no, what did I just do? Bro, YouTube YouTube streaming is so dumb, like dumbed down in comparison to Twitch. They don't really have any they don't really have any moderation tools. I have no idea who's here. Yeah, Annabelle, you should share your share your graph with Anna Real. I think it's really cool what you created. Or maybe that's maybe too personal. Maybe like a blurry image of it. But I thought it was really cool. Do they work on YouTube? Yeah, they're supposed to work. They're just not working, and they weren't working in my Twitch chat yesterday either. Haha. If it wasn't, it's too late now. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I never know what people prefer to be called by. Some people really like being called by their like aliases or their usernames, or some people find it really endearing to have their real name be used. So, um, and then I'm still to this day worried if I'm say Monsi wrong. But Monsi is another amazing person that reached out to me, and we've had a back and forth email conversation. We used to talk a lot more before I took my massive break off of YouTube, but another great and amazing individual that's reached out to me. And I really sincerely appreciate everyone who takes the time to reach out to me. Like Jade is another person that emails with me. And it just, I don't know, getting that time and that effort out of your day is just really cool. Oh my God, Monty M? Yeah, like from back in the Discord days. Oh, Vanellope is a character from Wreck-It Ralph and she glitches everything. Yes, I definitely had a Vanellope moment. I'm struggling to reply to people on chat. Yeah, I just don't really know how it works on YouTube. I know you can like add people. Oh, it does autofill in now. Did this work? Oh, Shakira, thank you so much. Or like you want me to call you from now on, Lily. Jumping in to say hi, driving right now. I just want to say congratulations so much. I'm not saying any more about what the congrats is, but once I read your message, I was so fucking pumped for you. That is absolutely huge news. I'm so happy for you. You told me you've been working on this forever, so I just wanted to take a second to verbally let you know how amazing that is that you got what you got. So pumped for you. Oh, it will only allow you to tag if you're on the computer. Okay, thank you, Layla, for letting people know that. I think it does on desktop, but not on mobile. Okay, that makes sense. Anna gets it. Anna did get it, and I didn't. The whoosh would have been effective as well. Yeah, it was really cool. So if you all don't know, I've been trying out this new venture of streaming on Twitch. I've streamed, my schedule right now is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, which is a lot of streaming. It's been really interesting. But yesterday I wanted to do community games, and so it was really fun to I played with Layla, I played with Shakira, I played with Annabelle. We had two other amazing men that I've recently met through Twitch. We had Adriano, we had Krypton, and so we all played community games. It was really fun. So if you want a more laid back vibe and to have conversations with me and possibly play video games with me, by all means, you can follow me on Twitch. Let me see. Dude, that's so behind. My stream preview is so behind. That was distracting. Let me see. Where is my Twitch? I have something for my Twitch in the commands, but the commands aren't working at the moment. Twitch. But yeah, that's my Twitch. If you all want to hang out with me, it was really fun to play community games. We played a rip off of Mario Kart called Kart Rider Drift, and it was a ton of fun. Is Shakira not your name? Wait, is Lily your real name? I thought I'm. I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm done. I don't know. Let's see. Laugh out loud. Thank you. Thank you, Layla. Hey, Pekka Zeepacorn, how are you doing? Yeah, Shakira, don't text and drive. Eyes on the road, please. It's not worth getting into any kind of accident, either financially or for your own well-being or for the sake of someone else. I really enjoy you being a part of the chat, but please be safe. Even if you're at a stoplight, that still counts. Bad. It's my real name. Oh, thank you, Layla. The hype is real. Go follow him. It's so much fun there. I'm so close to affiliate, which is apparently a big deal, but I'm excited to keep on streaming. And like I said, I kind of want to talk about that a little bit because it has been a big struggle and a big place of insecurity for me. But it is a lot of fun over there, and I do enjoy having people from YouTube come in because I am passionate about mental health, and I'm passionate about the topics that I talk about here on my channel. But it is nice to have a place where I'm a little bit more laid back, and I try very badly to play video games. And occasionally people open up to me in the chat, and it's a lot of fun over there. Twitch is a really amazing platform, and I'm completely sold on it now. I'm kind of low-key addicted to Twitch. Ooh, why would we follow the glitch on Twitch? Hey, with the rhymes, you always find a good way to throw in a rhyme on there. Oh, but Maria, we can be anxiety buddies, general too. Cute Cupcake, where you have generalized anxiety disorder too, what kind of things does the anxiety tend to fixate on the most for you? Is there a specific area in life, or is it just as it's implied generalized anxiety, where you have anxiety about kind of everything in your life? Monsi says, fun. When are you usually streaming on Twitch? So right now I'm streaming before work. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I stream from 4:30 till 6:30. But what I've been considering doing is having an earlier stream for my European people on, like, say Monday or Wednesday, one of those days. Have a much earlier stream, like around like 6 or 5 your guys' time, and then have that oh god, that's distracting. And then have the ability to still interact with you, because it really means a lot that my European people will stay with, like, stick it out and have conversations with me so late. But I do want to be accommodating for other people in the world, so I think it would be a great platform to use Twitch to have these earlier streams in the day. Shakir, okay, that's what I was gonna say. Shakir is my real name. I was just joking with you, East. Okay, time to drive again. I was just in the parking lot. Okay, thank you for being safe. Stephen Poole, my beautiful man, Odin, the one and the only. So Stephen is someone who found me through Krypton or Layla, one of those people, but he's another Twitch person, and he's just been nothing but so kind to me and very vulnerable himself, and has opened up about a lot of different things. He goes by Odin's Nine Virtues on Twitch. Really amazing individual. Has the nicest things to say. Super supportive of everyone he interacts with. Just so many amazing people. Yeah, well, look who we have here. Exactly. I'll follow on Twitch. I can't remember my Twitch name though. Yeah, it's no big deal whether you do or don't follow me on Twitch. It's just another place where we can interact and it be a little bit more low key, and we have a really fun time over there, if I do say so myself. European folk, yes, my European folk mean the world to me as well. Yeah, even if he doesn't think so. Big facts. Well, I mean, Steven, didn't you guys have Brexit? You don't necessarily count as being a part of Europe, right? And the same for everyone, like, maybe listening or lurking or whatever you're doing. I would really love it to have you over on Twitch. And like I said, Saturdays, I'm going to try to do community game nights, and we all hop in a Discord. And I would love the opportunity to solve a puzzle with you or play Kart Riders or whatever we do. It doesn't really matter to me. I really want to build a community and have interactions with you all that extend past just my videos and a few comments. Not that those interactions don't mean a lot to me, they do. But also, if you stream at convenient times for me, how am I going to ruin my sleep schedule? That is a really good question. Annabelle is like on a manic streak at the moment, ruining stuff with her sleep schedule. Shush you, you'll make me blush. No, Steven is a really amazing man. And I already have so many amazing women in my life, and I continue to get more. Very blessed in that sense. Um, but through Twitch, I've met a lot of really, really, really amazing men, and that just means a lot to me because I really struggle making male friendships for a variety of reasons. But I would consider Odin one of those people that I've really taken a liking to and think highly of already. So I really appreciate his presence here. Um, ooh. Let's see. You practically live in the future, overthinking possible situations that, of course, they're all bad. It's also about control. That makes so much sense, Maria. Let's see. If there is more that you want to talk about with your generalized anxiety disorder, I really like hearing more about what it's like in that experience, especially since um, I don't have an anxiety disorder and I'm in a really good place. And it means a lot to understand deeper what those experiences of people are like. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, we had Brexit, but still on the continent of Europe. Yeah, that's true, I guess. Steven, so nice to know your name. I think I've seen you in Layla's Discord. Yeah, Steven is definitely in Layla's Discord. I take medication and go to a psychiatrist. If you don't mind me asking what kind of medication you're on, I'm on Wellbutrin, Ritalin for my ADHD, and then I feel like I'm on something else. Oh, I'm on Lexapro. Not Lexapro. Not on Lexapro. Hated Lexapro. I'm also on Abilify for my bipolar. So I take a wide range of medicine, and there's definitely been some medications that did not work well for me that I hated and made me super apathetic, and it was not a fun time. But I'm finally in a place where I have a really good combination of medication that has really empowered me to have a better life. Still a difficult life, but a better life. I let's see. The tingles I get when he says he wants to do a puzzle with us is concerning. Laugh out loud. Hashtag nerd life. No, I really like. I'm glad that it's not a dumb idea and that other people would have fun with it because I really like solving puzzles. I got way into this freaking website the other day. I solved half of a puzzle by myself in this very like ADHD fixation mode. So if I solved a puzzle with my internet friends, how fun would that be? Do they have chess over there? Jade, if you ever want to play some chess.com matches with me, we can set up a time and you can just absolutely destroy me in chess. But that would be fun. Liz, how are you doing? I'm sorry, we started a lot earlier than normal because I'm doing an interview with my wonderful friend Annabelle, and she lives in Europe, and so I wanted to be a little bit more accommodating to her. Even though I shifted by an hour, it doesn't make a huge difference. But I am a bit early today. Let's see. The feeling is mutual, East. You're a great guy, and I would love to live near you as and have you as a in real life friend. Yeah, I just feel like you'd be a dope dude to grab a beer with. And I'm not really like a grab a beer kind of guy, but I would grab a beer with you regardless. A beer does kind of sound good. Pegasus Zebracorn says so many social media platforms, YouTube and Facebook is basically it for me. It's really interesting that you still use Facebook. Do you use it to connect with family? All my older family still use a lot of. Not that I'm implying that you're old, but like my mom and my aunts and that side of my family still uses the Facebook a lot. So that's the only reason I still have Facebook is to interact with my family. What medications do you use, Maria? If you're okay to share, I use Putra. I'm gonna go with Putra. It works with my ADHD. Okay, that's really nice. I need the dumbed down version of Twitch/Discord. I feel like YouTube is the dumbed down version of live streaming on Twitch, and I completely agree with you with Discord. I have a Discord. Well, not really for my community, but I use Discord and it's very overwhelming. I don't know what's going on half the time. I need someone to hold my hand through Discord. It's definitely interesting. Yes, Abilify. Oh my God, Xanax, Zolpidem, and I've never heard of those last two. I've obviously heard of Xanax. Usually Xanax is prescribed for those like big moments. That's like the occasional use. Annabelle, I'm telling you, a little antipsychotic in your life would probably do wonders. What do you talk about? Do you want to talk about the medication misses? Yeah, I can talk about what medication. Are you talking to me, Cute Cupcake? Because I can definitely talk about the really negative experiences I had with medication that did not work. My medications make me be on the toilet. Oh man, I'm so sorry. It's frustrating when I need to leave for work and I'm glued to the porcelain throne. You're such an articulate man, Steven. You really have your own way of talking, and I appreciate it. Oh, thank you for saying hi to Pega Zebracorn, Anna. Haha, East does suck at chess. I really do. I like chess, but I'm just not very good at it. I don't have the time. Chris Ramsey is a legend. That name sounds familiar, but I don't know why. I found out, but I had to make a stop after work for. Oh, okay. For my, your Heidi. Is that a pet? Is that your? Oh, is that for your guinea pig? Oh, thank you for giving the condolences, cute cupcake, to Steven. I appreciate that. Pet Unreal. I'm glad someone said it. Um, I don't know. How I'm just here for Annabelle. Aw, yes, of course. How bad does he suck? Strings. Is it worth playing? I can kind of hold my own in the beginning of the game, but like once we get to mid game and end game, it's not even worth it. Uh, Zolpidem, Zolpidem. We're going with Zolpidem. Our sleep meds, I think. Okay, that makes sense. I use Facebook mostly for groups for all the medical issues. Oh, that would be a really cool sense of community to have. I wish I was a part of support groups or like groups of people that had gone through similar experiences. That would probably mean a lot to me. Then to see what people from high school slash undergrad are up to. Yeah, that's the only. I stopped using Facebook right around the time I graduated high school, and so those are the only people that I follow are the people I went to high school with, and it's interesting. It is very interesting to see where life took people, and I'm sure people would probably feel that way if they found out that I work a part time job and do YouTube. They would probably be like, "What are you doing with your life?" People sometimes tag me on Discord, and I haven't been on haven't been on in ages. Okay, interesting. Anyone, just if anyone wanted to vent. Oh, about medication, Mrs. Yeah, thank you so much for giving people that opportunity to talk about medication, Mrs. So there's two big, really negative experiences I had with medication. The first one was Lexapro. And when I first started taking Lexapro, I didn't know I was bipolar yet. And when I first took it, it triggered a manic, like borderline psychosis episode that lasted 3 or 4 days. It was really tough. I didn't sleep for 3 to 4 days. I became really fixated on stuff. I was like talking to myself a lot. It was a very, very overwhelming experience. Eventually, that died down, but I was left with such intense apathy that at the time I was struggling with suicide, and I'd rather be struggling with those emotions than feel that level of apathy. I just didn't feel anything at all, and I hated it. So that was Lexapro that I really disliked taking, and it was a really disappointing experience because it was the first antidepressant I ever took, and I was really hoping it would make a difference, but it made things worse. And then I took another one. Uh, I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it was a NRI instead of an SSRI. It was a SNRI, so serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. And that one once again made me super super apathetic, and I hated it. And then I eventually got put on Wellbutrin, which I really liked, and I've been on that since. Oh, Lisa, how are you doing? Hi, popping in and out quick. Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by and say hi. It really means a lot when people say hi, even if they have to go and do other things with their life. I totally understand it. Most of the time when I interact with other streamers, I'm just in there to say hi real quick. I love that your name is Cute Cupcake because every time someone says your name, it sounds like the sweetest term of endearment. Oh, yes. Oh, Ambien. Oh my word. Me and Ambien, we've had some wild experiences. Ambien is a really strange drug if you stay up on it. Ambien is a strange chemical to be on. Oh, Seroquel. I think Seroquel might have been the other antidepressant. If it's an antidepressant, might have been the other antidepressant I was on. So yeah, Pegazebracorn, you know all about the psychoactive drugs. You're ready to go on both the common name and the official name, and then the generic name. You are on top of it over there. Um, Heidi is my new guinea pig, relatively speaking. Okay, I'm glad I guessed correctly. Q Cupcake says it's actually spelled Purata. These names are a challenge for me. Also known as Oxzipam. So I'm very bad at chess, but even I beat him, so that'll say enough. Yeah, no, that not super good. You were studying chess at the time. You literally had a coach. I don't want to hear it. Oh, Ramsey is a puzzle pro. Okay, glad. Thank you for clarifying. Let's see. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you got better medication that works better. Yeah, I'm so thankful to have the medication that I have now, and I have a really good experience with it. And although I don't think the medication is primarily to give credit for this, I don't struggle with depression right now, and I don't struggle with SI or anything like that. And so and then my Abilify has absolutely taken the wind out of the sails of my bipolar disorder. So I'm in a really stable place. And a big part of that is medication. The other part is working really, really, really hard on myself to create those opportunities to be stable and get away from instability. But it's definitely a combination of two. Yeah, Maria, me and psych meds go way back. Um, do you have a personal preference, Pegazebracorn? Did you ever find anything that sat well with you, or has it always been hit or miss? I'm a little better than I was. How is everyone here? I'm glad to hear that you're doing a little bit better after your mental health institution thing. Are you still doing your inpatient? My experience with anxiety is that of thinking everything could go wrong. It's also questioning my own motives and actions. It's hyper awareness and worrying combined, not fun. I completely get the hyper awareness about yourself. I really struggle with hyper awareness, especially when I'm struggling. Freudian slip there. Especially when I'm streaming, I get really in my head about like, am I smiling enough? Like, how is my voice? Am I being welcoming enough? And then sometimes I have these mini, you couldn't tell, but mini like existential crisis breakdown, a little bit of anxiety while I stream. It can be really overwhelming. Or with like social situations are so difficult for me, especially new ones where I don't know what to expect. A lot of hyper awareness that becomes very debilitating. Oh, thank you for saying hi to Lisa. Yeah, Jade, I mentioned that we were both worried about Lisa, and you're the one that brought it to my attention. Jade says I'm currently on flavored water. What kind of flavored water though? That is the question. What is your go-to flavor for water? Mine is grape. I love grape as a flavoring. I still sucked though, raw dog in life, as you say. Yeah, Annabelle has multiple psychiatric conditions that are diagnosed, and she doesn't have any medication yet. So she is truly raw dog in life over there with bipolar and ADHD. Let's see. So I got out of inpatient, was home for like 2 days, and then had an OCD episode that was very severe, and now in partial day program for the same hospital, still doing that. Well, I hope it's going well, and I'm sorry to hear that you had an OCD episode. From what I've heard about true OCD episodes, they're incredibly debilitating and difficult to deal with. Smile more and some inflection when it when it could go amiss. CJ, that's why I like having you around, right? Like a little roasting here in a while, like giving me a little bit of shit, giving me the British uh chat. What's the British term for giving someone shit? I don't know. Should I say to you, are you having a laugh? Are you having a laugh? But that was funny. I appreciate the joke. That made me happy inside. If you get meds that have those negative side effects, like making the intrusive thoughts worse, would you just stop taking them, or would you continue until you see the doctor again? So a big thing for me is that with medication, every single medication I've ever taken, the first week or so is really, really difficult. It triggers hypomania, it triggers psychosis, it triggers intense suicidal ideation. It is a really, really rough experience for me personally. Why it affects my brain like that, I don't know. It's not very common. But my rule of thumb is I want to have an understanding if this drug will help me, because there's this old statistic that one in three antidepressant medications have the efficacy rate of antidepressant medicine is 1 in 3. So you have a 33.333% chance of an antidepressant working for you. And so I just push through all those really, really difficult feelings. I just white knuckle it because I want to give the medication a chance. Because something that people don't understand is that these drugs are designed so they build up in your blood, and it takes a while for it to become psychoactive and enter that therapeutic range. And so on a personal level, I will go through the immense suffering and just so I can get to the other side to have an understanding, is this going to work for me or not? And unfortunately, twice it didn't work, but the third time, Wellbutrin, it worked amazingly and I love it. And so I'm so glad that I suck it out on both Wellbutrin and Abilify. Abilify was a horrific drug to start for me. It made me panic. It gave me debilitating muscle pain, and all these other negative side effects. But once I got to the other side of it, getting used to the chemical, like, it radically changed my bipolar. So, Steven, I would say if you can suffer through it, just give it a chance, give it a week or two. And then if it's still really negative, absolutely go talk to a doctor, see what's going on. Um, let's see. Grape team, let's go. Oh my word, you mean purple flavor? Yeah, purple flavor, absolutely. I'm so behind. Lisa M says, "Oh, was that you that was concerned about me at Jade?" I'm pretty sure it was Jade. Layla says, "Sounds really tough to have all that going on in the noggin while you're alive. While you're, while you're live. You're doing a great job, truly. Thanks for always being open and honest with us about it." Yeah, of course. For me, communicating the way I feel really puts a damper on my anxiety and helps me get out of my own head. And so, just telling you that I feel nervous or that I'm having existential crisis really helps alleviate those feelings. Apple and mango, but anything watermelon is best for me. Those are not bad flavors for water as well. I appreciate you all sharing with me. Grape team. I'm glad we're on grape team together. Cute cupcake. Yes, purple. Otherkins, how are you doing? Well, hello. 10 out of, yes. 10 out of 10. This is also my top 3 favorite shirts. Where it ranks, once you're in my top 3, that you're all equal, but it's definitely in there somewhere. So thank you for the shirt rating. Layla ranked it at 8.5, so you guys are actually on the same page for once. Blueberry lemon water, that sounds amazing. Sign me up for that. Lisa says, "It's going well. It's really rough and scary, but thankfully I got my insurance to improve the day program because they weren't going to approve it when I was still inpatient." That's amazing that insurance actually came through for once, and did the right thing. I'm glad that they're covering it because that's a big proponent of why I am not in therapy, even though I desperately want to be, is that I simply can't afford it. And then the people that do take my insurance, they have wait lists that are like a mile long, and then everyone else that doesn't have a wait list and has availability, they're like, "Nah, man, we absolutely will not take your insurance." Go steady. Don't want to give you any fanny flutters. Yes, let's go. One of my favorite British sayings that we talked about last week, I think. I also have avoidant attachment. I have avoidant attachment as well. And once my anxiety or stress gets going, it's really hard for me to engage with life, and I'd just rather shut down. When I have mental health crises, I'm just the kind of person that just shuts down from life in general. That's having an avoidant personality type can be really difficult and overwhelming and make people feel like you don't care about them, even though you do care a lot. You just struggle to show it for a variety of reasons. Taking the mick out of him. I haven't heard that one, so I don't know the connotations behind that. Let's see. My queen at Otherkins. Man, these YouTube emotes are like the Wish version of Twitch emotes. They really are. Like, why does YouTube put so little effort into their streaming platform? Let's see. Becoming a Pega Zebracorn says tons of misses. Celexa worked for a while on a very high, but the dose is no longer allowed. I'm on V-bread. I'm just not even gonna try. Now, and it's working well. Paxil was the first when I was about 14. It was horrible. I'm glad you found something that's working well. Is I'm gonna ask a dumb question, but those are all antidepressants, right? Oh, thank you for. I love it when you guys interact with each other. Otherkin says hi, cutie pie to Layla. Cute Cupcake says Lisa M. Insurance companies suck, but I'm glad you got help. Me too, absolutely. Is it true that antidepressants are addictive and they can be worse for you in the long run? I remember reading somewhere about that a few years ago. Might have been a now banned medicine. I can't say any antidepressants that come to my mind would be addictive. Pegazebracorn, if you want to throw in your expertise on whether there's an antidepressant that is addictive and worse for you in the long run, by all means, jump in. Hearing all those threes just gave me some tingles. What threes? Oh man, I'm starting to get behind in chat. Okay, I'm catching up. Let's go. Yeah, you obviously should talk to your doctor immediately. I just meant more sense in the like on a personal level where whether you stick with it or not. Definitely a great thing to bring up, Lisa. Always talk to your doctor about your dosage. That's something that I did when I was having a really tough time with my Abilify, and then we lowered my dose and we played around with it, and we eventually found somewhere that worked well. So thank you for bringing that up. I really should have mentioned that. Always talk to your doctor and let them know what's going on with you and work with them to figure out what works well. I'm sorry that it took something so negative for them to finally come through. Therapy was traumatic. I no longer go. If you want to expand on that experience at all, by all means, but I'm sorry that you had a traumatic experience with therapy. That was so intense that you no longer go. I can't imagine what the details of that was, but I have a lot of sympathy for you feeling that way. Avoidant, yes. Liz, are you also avoidant? I think you've mentioned that maybe you're avoidant. I was just lucky. My university has free therapy sessions, but it's also a long wait issue. But it was the best thing. Oh, that makes me happy. My college gave you 2 free sessions. They gave you 2 free sessions, and that was it. And then it was just like you should be better after 2. Go on with your life. Oh my God, otherkins, you're so popular. Look at you. Did you like my fun facts last night? Otherkin said she hated them. I'm gonna be honest. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. At least you had me worried. So glad you're back. Hope you're doing well. One of my best friends lives in England, and I randomly have quite a few British acquaintances and friendos, so I've learned a lot of fun phrases. Yeah, the British people have so many good British and Aussies have so many fun English phrases. Okay, so it's almost 5, so I might bring on Annabelle. Annabelle, are you still feeling up to doing a little interview on stream? I'm in no position to talk about these meds. I'm not on any of them. Feels like I should save my East time for Twitch. The only meds I'm on is Allo. Oh, for gout, and I don't know what the other ones for. But Steven, you're more than welcome here. We bounce around from all kinds of conversations. The other day, Steven, I need your British opinion. Have you ever heard the phrase fanny flutters or having the ick? Those are two of my favorite British expressions, is someone giving you the ick and fanny flutters. I need to know whether you've heard of these and what your opinion on these expressions are. Okay, the Levo one is for underactive thyroids. Uh, Secret Sauce. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, I discovered your channel from Chubby Emu, I think. Great chill hangout you've got here. Just a question. Why is there no chill background music? That is a really good question. I think I've just struggled to find something that is copyright free. If you have any suggestions on chill background music that won't get my channel flagged and give me a copyright strike, I would love that, Secret Sauce. It's something I need to do more research on, absolutely. On Twitch, I have background music because they're a lot more lenient. And I think it does add. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So in fact, I'm writing that down, Secret Sauce. YouTube background music. And it says fangirls, welcome in. Yeah, thank you so much. And by the way, welcome to chat. Thank you so much for taking the time to interact with me. It means a lot. As someone who's guilty of being a lurker, it really means a lot when people take the time to leave a message and let me know where they came from and how they found my channel. And if you want to give me some lore about why you picked the name Secret Sauce, that would mean a lot to me. I really like learning more about people and for people to be more than just this username and avatar photo. So by all means, feel free to let me know. Cute Cupcake says ours is more like if you actually have really bad issues, they'll help you face to face. I'm glad I was honest with them so that they knew that it was do or die. I'm so sorry that you were in a do or die position. Is that when you were struggling with? I think you've mentioned that you struggled with an eating disorder. If you don't mind me asking, or don't mind talking about it, by all means. Um. Oh, okay. Look at you guys. Look at you guys know these things. Lilo says not the fanny flutters. Yes, the fanny flutters indeed. Uh, Lisa M says, "Isn't the fanny flutters a Love Island thing? I've also heard them give the ick over in Miami, Michigan. The fanny flutters is a Love Island thing. I love trashy reality TV, especially British or Australian dating shows." And so I went through this massive phase where I watched like every season of Love Island, and there's a lot of British Love Island. I'm not the most proud of it, but I did get that expression, the ick and the fanny flutters from Love Island. You nailed it. I have no idea if it's specifically a Love Island thing. Therapist telling me she wasn't concerned I wanted to unalive. Oh, I'm so sorry. Also told me I'm a burden that people are avoiding. That's a really fucked up thing for a therapist to say. Um, and because I imagine those are huge insecurities and fears of yours, and so for someone to say that, like, she's so lucky that it didn't lead to you actually doing anything, like making any attempt on your life, because that's such a horrific thing to say. I'm sorry you went through that, and no wonder you have traumatized and don't want to do therapy anymore. What an awful thing. Okay, Annabelle, are you ready? Are you ready to do this? I'm gonna so for those that have just joined, I have a lot of really amazing friends in my life, and I think it was Liz, it might have been someone else, but I asked for some different ideas of what I could do on stream, and someone brought up this idea of it would be nice to see me interact with friends. And so I think I want to kind of do this series of interviewing my friends, especially since so many of my friends are from YouTube now, like Layla, like Anna, like Annabelle. So many people that are my friends are on from YouTube. And so I thought it would be cool to bring them on, have an interview, talk about mental health stuff, have the chat ask them some questions, and do like a 30-40 minute segment of just having one of my friends on and talking about whatever issue is relevant in their life or what we have to talk about. So I'm going to give that a try. We're going to go experiment with this together. It might be a flop. It might not be very enjoyable at all, but we're going to give it a try. And so thank you for letting me test this out with you all. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to start a video call. Oh my God, Steven, what are you talking? Letting you? I'm more than happy to have you here.
Hello.
It's not letting you at all. Okay, let me see. Hey, Annabelle, how do I switch the view so it's both of us at the same time? Oh, the grid.
Wait, don't you do a window capture thing
N-
of your
oh
Discord?
no, on Discord, yeah. Webcam.
This is going great already.
It is. Look at this. Okay, okay. So we're here. We're here. Um,
Ah! Oh my god, no.
you sound great, by the way. Your audio quality. Did you wear a pattern button up just for me? Oh my word!
Wait,
Everyone, can we get
wait
some
a minute,
hype
wait.
for Annabelle's pattern button up? That is it.
So
Pen related?
this, well, it kinda looks like postcards, maybe. Like it looks like there's scribbles on there. So,
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was
so
like calligraphy intentionally. So this is Annabelle. Annabelle, if you want to introduce yourself, talk a little bit of how we met, maybe some mental health related things to you, and we'll go from there.
oh god. Right, how we met. You showed up in my YouTube page at some point, and I thought, oh god, I don't want to click on that video. That sounds difficult to listen to. And it was. And then I reached out to you because I felt like we could relate to each other. Um, how true that turned out
Oh
to
wait,
be,
hold on a second.
I don't know.
You apparently need to turn up your gain.
You can also turn up my gain in Discord, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wait. How's try this?
You right click my face.
No, I turned you up on Streamlabs. Is this better, y'all?
Okay. Hello, test, test, 1, 2, 3. Hello.
It's a slight delay. We'll see. Okay, everyone says good now. Perfect.
Okay. Amazing. Right. So, at some point, you showed up in my For You page on YouTube, and I saw your video, and I thought, oh god, I don't want to click on that video because it's. I don't know which one. Maybe it was the one about falling in love with your girlfriend's eating disorder.
My
Because it was
fiance's
such.
eating disorder.
Yeah. Fuck. I remember not wanting to click on it, but like I also had to because I was on a commute. And I was ready to like really dislike you as well. Because how could that be the title of a video and you turn out to be the sympathetic person? Um, and then I don't know, I related to you a lot, and so I messaged you because it turned out months later that we would be able to relate to each other a whole lot more than we initially anticipated.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I basically just slid into your DMs at some point talking about how I too have mental illnesses.
Yeah.
Let's be friends.
Do you
Um,
want to talk about at all the video you sent me and any context to that? We can skip over that if you would like, because that was the
no,
big
we can.
thing that led me.
Right,
Annabelle sent me this video, this speech that she did that was really powerful. So,
right. So in 2018, um, the parents of a friend of mine did a fundraiser in the name of my friend who had committed suicide. And it was supposed to be this fundraiser for a scholarship in his name. And in that speech, I talked about my journey with mental health because I allegedly have bipolar disorder. And I've just struggled with a whole bunch of things all my life. And it was kind of about that journey because, especially after my friend passed away, I had a lot of, what do you call it, SI?
hmm.
Um, but then I got through that and I luckily got into an Austrian hospital, and I'm glad it was an Austrian hospital. um,
Not an American
and I
one.
stayed there for 3 months. Yeah. And I was there for 3 months. And that kind of changed my life. And it's not been easy ever since, but, you know, heaps better.
Yeah.
But yeah, back then we talked about, so in that speech, I talk about, what did I talk about? Like how your sensitivities are a superpower if you let them, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and you watched that and you could relate to that as well.
Yeah.
And then you and I did a whole talk on your channel about bipolar disorder. And you said that being like, wow, that must be hard. Like an absolute goober.
Absolute goober indeed. Um, let's see. Sorry, I was just turning up a little bit more. Yeah, you sent me she had this amazing speech that she gave, and then she's also a goldsmith, she's an artisan. She made this really cool pill container for her bipolar medication. Just someone who really values symbolism and artwork, and I thought it was really cool.
Mm.
And then immediately took a liking to her for after she reached
Oh,
out, especially so vulnerably. And then we did a collab. We talked about your bipolar disorder. And
that's
then,
right. Oh, I forgot about the pill box. That
yeah,
was a
your
big
really cool
project
pill
for me.
box. Yeah.
Yeah, because so when I did when I met Miles, that friend of mine, I was at the conservatory, and then I learned about my bipolar, and went to the hospital, and I realized I couldn't do music anymore, which was kind of like the center meaning of my life. That's all my self-worth was attached to my, like, how good I was as a musical performer. And then I had to let that go. And then uh, I was like, okay, what now? I guess I'm going to do something completely new and be a person that has value independent of how good I am at that thing. And so the first big project at the trade school where I studied goldsmithing was this pillbox, which was so ironic that that would be the first big assignment that we get is a fucking pillbox.
Yeah.
Pardon my language. I have a potty mouth. Um, but yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. So really cool artwork that she's done. She works on nibs and fountain pens, and for those that don't know, I went through a whole calligraphy phase because I said to
A
myself,
little hyperfixation.
"Yeah, if I'm gonna write about ugly things, then I will do so beautifully." So I got really fixated on calligraphy, and so we bonded over that as well. So there's many things we could talk about. You and I have very in-depth conversations about a lot of things. The idea of free will or determinism. We've talked about AI. We've talked about a lot of different things. But one thing that I think both of us could talk about in different capacities, because we're mirrors of each other, is that I've been
Uh-huh.
diagnosed with ADHD forever, recently diagnosed with
Mm-hmm.
bipolar. You've been diagnosed with bipolar forever, recently diagnosed with ADHD. So,
Uh-huh.
do you want to talk about the process and experience that it is struggling with questioning if you do have something and then finding out that you do and what that's been like?
Sure. It's been annoying. um, I don't know. It's almost like you're gaslighting yourself, right? Um, can you give me like a prompt to
Yeah, of
like get
course.
into it? Let's
Um,
start.
so what was the process like of, because one thing that we did a lot was talk about ADHD things. And then I talked to you a lot about bipolar things, and I was using you as a sounding board of like,
Mm.
here are these things that I'm going through. So talk to me about the experience of that, where it feels like you're maybe convincing yourself of you're just questioning and having to ask someone else about these symptoms, and then that
Mm.
gaslighting, like you said, of is this real or is this not real?
Yeah, I remember. I think it might have been specifically with you because I think you're one of my first friends that has ADHD who knew they have ADHD. Now it turns out all of my friends have ADHD, but I think I don't know what it was in particular, but you'd point out like certain habits that you have. Maybe it's if you like have an appointment at a certain time and you can't really get anything done beforehand because you have this appointment at a certain time. And I was like, wait a minute. You say that's an ADHD thing?
Yeah.
But I've done that all my life. Is that a thing? Could this be real? And that just kind of accumulated more and more and more. Where so because I knew about bipolar and I kind of knew how, like on paper, how that affected people. Because everybody kind of does that, I think, when they get a diagnosis, you kind of research it, probably too much, but just so you know, just so you get some validation for all these things you've experienced all your life that you didn't have words for. But there was lots of ground that wasn't covered with bipolar. And then you would describe that. I'm like, oh no, this fills a gap that makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
Oh no, am I gonna actually have to deal with that now? But now, with you also having bipolar disorder, it's I find myself I'm a big label person. I like boxes and I like graphs and I like data and I like things to make sense. So I'm trying to divide out now which bit is the bipolar, which bit is maybe ADHD, which bit is possibly autism, and which bit is just me, maybe.
Mm.
Um, and then also living on the internet, you see a lot of like mental health content probably, and it's easy for you to maybe relate to random things, but maybe then that is not even true, and you're just telling yourself that's true.
Yeah.
That's a big fear that I had, especially before before I got my ADHD tested. I'm glad that the test I did was so like scientific. Like they literally strapped a thing on my head and like tracked my movement while I was doing exercises and stuff. So that felt very scientific and validating. Um, but before then, it's so easy to like just tell you, like when you have a cough and you look up your symptoms and you suddenly are convinced that you have cancer. It almost felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to lie. You don't want to pretend to have certain illnesses. But if the shoe fits,
Yeah.
then it's really good to have that validation. And then once you have the validation, once you know and you can make sense of your life, you can maybe start tackling real life
Mm.
with with strategies, maybe medication, maybe therapy to just make life easier.
Yeah.
Also, the chat is going off like crazy.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah, they're
Are
mostly
we
just
gonna ignore it?
no, we're not going to ignore it. For the most part,
Okay.
it's just people gassing you up. If you haven't read it, they're gassing you up a little bit, which thank you, chat, for gassing her up. She's an amazing woman in my life. Um,
Also, I have a candle for Layla specifically.
for Layla, do you love that? My candle's not lit. That's for sure. It's back there somewhere.
It's true.
No, it's out of frame. Steven asked a good question, maybe, and then Cupcake made a good statement. But Steven said, question for anyone, those with people to talk to, how helpful were they for you to get through any of it? And those that had nobody, what was your coping mechanism and methods? So, real quickly, to also hype up Annabelle, I went through this really intense period where right at the beginning of our relationship, I had this friend who was extremely suicidal. It was very triggering for a lot of reasons, and it put me into a really, really, really dark place. And Annabelle was one of the people that I talked to about it a lot. One of the first people that I opened up to about the full extent of what was going on at the time. There's certain parts of it that I haven't even talked about on my channel for a variety of reasons. And so having that kind of person in my life to talk to and then just tell someone how hard it was, what I was going through, made a world of difference. And so finding those people is really important. Do you have anything to add to that in the context of the value of having someone or what strategy you use when you don't have someone to talk to?
Um, so for me in particular, sometimes I wish I could plug myself into other people's brains because you don't really know. You kind of just think that how you experience life is just kind of what life is and what it's supposed to be. You have no reference as to how things could be better or how it feels for other people. So using other people as a sounding board, pardon, is incredibly, incredibly helpful. And it can be super scary because in your case, right, it could have been that you open up to me
Mm-hmm.
and I could have been like, whoa, 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 that's too much.
Yeah.
And pulled out, and that probably would have left you vulnerable and
Pretty
abandoned,
devastated.
maybe.
Yeah.
And but I think I would have been in my right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, I wasn't in a position where I needed to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we just kind of got lucky that at what points in our lives we met. I think had I met you 5 years earlier, I probably wouldn't have been ready for our friendship.
Yeah.
But I think it just kind of worked out, and we got kind of lucky in that way.
Yeah, it's such an amazing thing that she did because as she mentioned earlier, very vulnerably so, if I might add, about she had a friend that took his life and it changed the course of her life. It was a really difficult thing to go through, of course. And then here she's making this friend with another making a new friendship with someone who's also extremely SI and would have been completely reasonable for you to pull away, but you didn't. And I appreciate that so much. You helped me get through that time. Now another thing that Cute Cupcake brought up was, did anyone else ever think I relate too much to this? So obviously I don't have it. That's something we just brought up. Do you think that okay, I'm relating to this too much, so clearly I can't actually have it. Is there a weird paradox there for you as well?
Yeah, of course, because I don't know. I question myself with anything ever. So
Yeah.
the imposter syndrome about being mentally ill
Mm,
is real, and I don't think there's anything you can do other than actually get the diagnosis. Because I do think that probably people hype themselves into thinking they have things. I
yeah.
bet that must happen, um, which is also understandable because if you struggle with anything, you want a solution. You want some sort of thing that you can stick on it, because if you have a label or a diagnosis, then there's a process and you get better. I
Mhm.
desperately want, like, I want that bipolar diagnosis again, and I want that autism diagnosis just so I have a way forward. But I don't want it so much that I'm gonna do anything I need to get it if it's not true.
Yeah.
So ideally, you seek out the truth, whatever that is, because psychology is a very wonky science and we don't understand half of it, I don't think. Um, but anything that helps you reflect is good. And anything like, I think the Instagram algorithm knew that I had ADHD before I even ever considered I had ADHD. And it just kind of
Relatable.
presented me with a lot of things where I was like, oh, wow. So that is a phenomenon that I suddenly have a word for.
Yeah.
But you do have to be critical of it as well. I think it's probably good to question yourself and not
Mhm.
just let yourself get carried away.
Yeah. That goes perfectly into my next question because something I really struggled with bipolar is that there
Mm.
was one half of me that wanted to be bipolar as badly as the other half didn't want to be bipolar. The parts of me that wanted to be bipolar were looking for an scapegoat because it would have then explained
A
years worth.
scapegoat?
A
Sorry.
scapegoat. Oh, scapegoat? Is it scapegoat instead of a scapegoat?
Yeah, it's a scapegoat without
Scape
an S
scapegoat.
in the beginning. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, I've wanted to
You're
correct you on
fixing.
this so often.
I I was using it as an excuse for a lot
Yes.
of
Perfect.
behaviors. And so that really worried me because I was cognitively aware enough of myself that there was a part of me that was going to influence the decision towards a yes, like you've been bringing up, maybe inappropriately so. But then again, another part of me really didn't want to be bipolar because that's a
Mm.
lifelong condition. You don't just overcome your bipolar. You're bipolar, right? There's medication, obviously.
Yeah.
And so when it
Like,
came,
objectively, being bipolar kind of sucks in a world of normies that is built for normal people. It's not fun to
no,
have like an array of mental illnesses, right? You don't necessarily want to have it.
exactly. So for you, was there that similar feeling of like opportunistically wanting to be ADHD for these other reasons?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I wanted an answer, right?
Hmm.
I was very, very scared of like acting more ADHD during the tests than I would be, right? But then I actually did those. I don't know if I should explain what those tests are like.
Yeah, go
Did I
for it.
tell it to you? But no, I mean for the purposes if anybody else ever gets tested, it's probably but that torture anyway. So basically, you're asked to do a really, really mundane task for a certain amount of time, and you just have to keep your attention on it, and it's absolute torture. And I thought, oh no, what if I'm too good at this? So that they decide that I don't have ADHD. But don't you worry, I was horrible at it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's definitely this pull to want to have it because then there's a solution and then there's a path forward. But also having ADHD, really in real life, it's just a nightmare. And before I got my diagnosis, it took me about 3 months before they had a spot for me to get tested. And before then, I spent months thinking about how, if I have it, how I think it negatively affects my life. And those things are real, like how forgetful I am and how much I struggle to sleep and how relationships are out of sight, out of mind. And then people can feel really neglected by that. And this whole thing, have a whole list in my notebook with these little things that I can't even think of right now because I have ADHD.
Meta.
um, with how it really, really affects your life. And it's not just me suffering from it, it's my husband has to deal with my ADHD.
Mm.
And my friends and just kind of, it's hard.
Yeah.
Sucks. And if there's something that makes your life so hard, there's got to be a reason for it.
Hmm.
Um, so whatever you do, try to find the real source of that and then find a strategy to get better.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything like morally wrong with trying to do that.
Morally wrong with trying to get better?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, I would say there's
Yeah.
not. So
Right.
one thing that I've been really struggling with post diagnosis is like the burden of it. Do you now that you know for a relative degree of assurity because you did so many tests and they are pretty conclusive that you do have this thing called ADHD?
Mm.
Does
Mm-hmm.
it feel like there's come a burden with that, or is there a feeling of relief? What was the feeling post diagnosis?
Uh, Probably a little bit of vindication.
Mm,
That I had a right to be uncomfortable with certain things in my life. Um, so that I just felt validated and like there's certain struggles I'd always had, and people would be like, "Oh, don't overreact, don't be such a crybaby," or
mm,
whatever. Or the why don't you just pay attention, that kind of stuff. And now I just kind of feel the first the first instance was relief. Like, okay, I had this thing, and I didn't just lie to me and just pretend that this thing is just made up, and I'm crazy, but
yeah,
I have it. Cool. And the next step is treatment. And that for me is an annoying one because of the bipolar thing.
yeah,
And the medication of ADHD could cause mania if you have bipolar. So, and I'm not on the right medication for bipolar to go with the ADHD meds. So that's all been kind of dragged out. So since the diagnosis, I've just been kind of, right now, I feel a bit stuck because I want to get to the next phase of treatment and medication. Um, but I I don't know. I also feel like I try to do a lot of research on my own. I have a lot of ADHD friends that I can ask for advice. I feel validated in my ridiculous use of notebooks all day, every day
yeah.
to write everything down. Um, our stream friend Krypton said this amazing thing the other day. He said, "Better a dull pencil than a sharp mind,"
Mm,
meaning it's better to write things down than to try and rely on your brain.
yeah,
Just and that's a tactic that I've used all my life. And I notice within my family there's certain things that we've all of us have always done to like manage life.
yeah,
Uh, and I guess I know why. Our family has like come up with those solutions that other people haven't that much. We all have ADHD is why. But yeah, for me it's just now waiting, and I hope that I get to a point that's as successful as yours. I'm a bit jealous of where you're at,
mm.
um, where
In
you
terms
have
of
the
medication,
in terms of medication
yeah,
and being able to do things. Because the the most frustrating thing about ADHD right now are probably the days where I get stuck. We've talked about this, the stuckness,
yeah,
where you should probably do 10 things. You feel pulled into, like, if everything has a rope attached to it and is pulling on me, they all pull into different directions, all the different things I should be doing. So then I just get stuck in the middle with equal tension from all the different tasks pulling on me.
yeah,
And then I just sit there and scroll.
yeah,
And it feels like hours of my life are being wasted away to this stuckness. And I wish I just had the ability to do things.
do things. The thing
Yeah.
I'm always jealous of normative people is like their ability to just do a thing, like they set their mind on something and then do it and not have these like walls and
Seems
walls and
fake.
walls. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a real thing. We have
No.
some more hype for you in the chat. Sophie, the one and only, says, "What a delight to click on this live stream and find Annabelle. This is so exciting. I'm such a massive Annabelle fan. Let's go."
Oh my god. That's so sweet.
And people are
Hi.
saying you're doing great. You really are doing great.
Oh, thank you.
Otherkins said she was fangirling, by the way, earlier. I appreciate you being so vulnerable. It's lovely to learn more about you. Look at you go.
Oh,
You have
I'm
stage
happy to
fright.
whine on the internet.
And then it's not whining. You're just talking about your life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be less self-deprecating if there's a lot of people who probably relate to what we're going through.
Yeah. So one
That
thing that
must be hard
what?
for you to like as a YouTube person, like you probably kind of feel responsibility to not say the wrong thing a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
Whereas I say the wrong thing all the time. It's kind of my gig.
Yeah. Me sticking my foot in my mouth is a daily occurrence that I try to work on.
Beautiful.
So the next thing I kind of wanted to jump into is that I think for both of us, it was so interesting because like when you were talking about whether you had ADHD, obviously we're not psychiatrists, we're not therapists, we shouldn't be diagnosing each other, all of that. But in my humble and uneducated opinion, it was very obvious that you had ADHD, right? And then I wondered to what degree it was obvious that I was bipolar, and then just talk about a bit of that dichotomy of like how it can be so obvious externally, but so difficult internally to acknowledge the truth.
Um, I don't know if I would have diagnosed you with bipolar
Mm.
because I don't have a degree. Like I, I have this thing where I don't assume to understand other people and how their minds work. Maybe because I've always been kind of an outsider and other people are kind of a mystery to me. Might that be the potential autism I might have? um, so it's quite hard for me to actually understand how your brain works.
Hmm.
And also, you kept saying, you fool, you kept saying, oh, this sounds so hard. There's no way I can have this because this sounds like a really heavy, difficult thing. But then you've been dealing with it all your life. And I just kind of like trusted you on that. Whereas I instantly, when you mentioned ADHD things, I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
that hits close to home. You never, I don't think you ever said that. I think you left it internal a lot more than you would outright
Mm.
exclaim that you could relate to it. Because I
Yeah.
don't think you wanted to offend me, maybe, or people with the experience.
Yeah, definitely. I was
Right.
very that was a big roadblock for me getting diagnosed was I was very careful of the power of these labels and I didn't want to claim something that wasn't mine. Because it's very frustrating. Like for instance, like in this TikTok world that we have, like I think autism is a really good example of something that people are sort of inappropriately just like kind of claiming for the sake of claiming. And so yes,
Mm.
I've questioned whether I'm autistic, but I'm very, very careful about how I phrase that and how I express it because autism is a very real thing. And especially with people who tend to have these extremes on the spectrum who where it really affects their life. Like I'm pretty high functioning. And so
Mm.
when it came to bipolar, I was just extremely careful about like that's your thing that's affected your life. Like I don't want to just
Yeah,
like
it's my thing.
well, in the sense of like our
I don't share.
interpersonal dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So, because like for
So
me,
we're still in the same boat with the autism then, right? Because when I got tested for ADHD, they told me that they definitely think I have ADHD, but they also think, or what's the word? Um, what's the word? Not assume, but
suspect.
suspect. That's the word. They
Okay.
suspect that I probably have autism, um, but they will have to test it thoroughly, and they also suspect that I am like highly gifted or whatever, and the combination of the two has masked any of it for
Mm,
my whole life because I'm like I I can like context clues are kind of enough for me to like figure stuff out, but that doesn't mean that I have like that intrinsic understanding of other people. And I think you're in the same boat with that. And so I'd often see things on the internet about autism. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds relatable, but I wouldn't have jumped to that conclusion. But now that the psychiatrist literally said, "Oh, I think you have autism," I'm like, huh,
yeah.
that doesn't sound too crazy, maybe.
Well, I think the
Um,
weird thing about those like ADHD or autism posts is like when I read them, I'm like, isn't that how everyone? Isn't that just normal?
Mm,
Isn't that normal
mm.
stuff for people? And not
And there
really.
probably is a lot of it that's
Yeah,
just normal,
yeah,
right? Like just like ah, but that's a tough thing again. Like with when I talk to friends about my ADHD, I would talk about my severe, severe, severe procrastination. And they'd be like, yeah, but everybody procrastinates. And it's probably true. Everybody probably does procrastinate. But do they procrastinate every week until 2 in the morning to then work from 2 to 8 in the morning to then go to work without sleep because they couldn't manage to do the thing, even though they're
yeah,
really good at time management on paper because they're slightly autistic and love writing timetables. So it's really hard. It's stressful.
yeah.
Kind of wish I was a normie because all of that could be playing Zelda instead.
You just need to make Zelda your fixation, and then you'll
Oh
zoom through
god.
it.
But that's actively unproductive. I'm already
Yeah,
not productive enough, right?
yeah. That's something I really struggle with. Is I spend hours and hours doing nothing because it's really hard to compel myself to do anything. And so when it comes to, I don't have downtime. Like for instance, on streaming, it's really hard for me to even on a stream play a video game because I feel it feels actively unproductive and it feels like there's so much else I could be doing with my time. And then if it wasn't for like trying to build something amazing with my streaming, then I wouldn't be doing that either. I would feel unproductive as
Mm.
well.
Yeah, I feel like that with video games for sure. My out is harp. Harp is literally not productive. Like I'm not going to gain anything from that other than the pure intrinsic joy of playing. And I'm allowing myself to do that like maybe 5 hours a week. But with video games, I find it really, really hard. And I'll let you know once I have a solution to that. Because it's
Yeah.
probably good for you to be actively unproductive. It's
Hmm.
probably like it releases your mind, it takes pressure. Like it's probably better to play a video game for 2 hours and actually relax than to sit there being stressed about being unproductive for 5 hours, which is what I do every day.
Yeah. Just to address the chat a little bit because there's been great side conversations going on, especially between Cute Cupcake and Steven. Is Cute Cupcake? I think that's a really interesting and cool idea. This idea of taking characters and sort of personifying them into your life as this like support person. I think that's really interesting. So thank you for sharing.
Sounds
So
like Inside Out.
it does sound like
Uh,
Inside Out, isn't it?
Mm,
A little bit, yeah. That's
a
such
little
a good
bit.
movie.
The
And then
best.
Sophie, we talked about this earlier, but we can definitely recap it for you. She asked, question for you both: how do you feel about your diagnosis? Is it empowering or limiting, or a bit of both? For me personally, I'll talk about my bipolar diagnosis. It feels like a bit of a burden, but largely it's been very empowering because it's like, no, there has been something in my entire life that's been wrong and overwhelming, and there's something not going correctly in my brain, and I do have these periods of depression and manic, and now that I'm medicated, it's been, I would say, life changing. So
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on your approach. You can obviously take your diagnosis and use that as an excuse forever to tell yourself you're limited,
mhm.
or you can take it as an alternative path to where you want to get instead, which is more difficult than probably for a normal person. But if you say, oh, I have ADHD, and therefore to achieve my goal, I have to do this and this, and I have to be extra considerate of this and this, then it can be empowering. But if you say, oh, I can't do this because I have ADHD, so this will never ever be possible, then that sounds very frustrating. But seeing, I don't know, I think Christopher is a very trying to improve my life kind of guy.
Yeah,
So I don't think you're gonna take those roadblocks as a hindrance forever. You're gonna find a way to work with it, and
yeah,
that's just kind of how we have to do it, I think.
yeah. Rosanne or Rosanna, Rosanna. I please give me a phonetic pronunciation. It's been so long. It's nice to see you again. Thank you for stopping by. Yes, I have been posting again. I've been back for what, like 2 months, 2ish months. I started posting in March again. It's so nice to see such an OG face back in the chat again. I hope you're doing well. One of the cool things is imagining I took 14 months off of creating content, and I imagine where the lives of my subscribers have been in the last 14 months. So let me know how life has been for you. I would really like to know that. Let's see. What are some other things that have been in the chat? Cupcake brings up a really good point once again. Cupcake killing it today. But it's not normal that it actually negatively affects our whole lives. That is such a good point that we normalize these positions where we struggle so much and we just assume that's how everyone else is, or that we're lazy or that we're broken without realizing, no, I have a
That word.
genetic brain. I have a brain that just does not work with me. Do
Mm.
you relate on that? The feeling.
The lazy.
Mm.
Oof. I felt like a lazy person all my life, which is frustrating because of, the classic ADHD where sometimes you can't move, but then you have the hyperfixation, and then you can literally work really, really hard for 10 hours straight because you are capable of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, again, it's hard to know. It's, I was actually thinking about that when you were talking about medication earlier with chat. Because my medication has been quite simple. For 10 years, I've been on the same meds, which is just some SSRIs. 100 milligrams of sertraline is what I've been on. And that, I think they initially just gave me that to like pull me out of my very like deep, deep depression. And then that was enough for me because I didn't, like, I thought, cool, I don't want to unalive myself anymore.
Hmm.
What more could I possibly ask for? Like, that's it. We did it. Not realizing that there's probably like this whole array of things I'm still struggling with, but since I'm not actually trying to like off myself, then God, I probably shouldn't talk so nonchalantly about this. Then how bad can it be, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, but then it turns out there is actually a whole array of things still that don't have to be as hard as they are.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I'm figuring out now with with time and with age. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true. Life shouldn't be so hard, but we don't know how hard our life is because we get really used to our situation, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, you bring up such a good point that like I'm in this weird position where I'm really thankful that I'm not struggling with the things that I used to be struggling. And I feel like I don't have the right to still like, still make self-help content or still have the right to complain. But it's like because the problems I struggle with now are a lot more normative and stuff. But then I still am really struggling, especially due to the two different conditions that I have. And so like ADHD and being bipolar. And so it's really interesting the realization that like, oh, it's really amazing I made it out of this period, but there's still so much left on the table. How do I get to that place?
Yeah. Like, did you ever feel like like you should settle now? Like
Hmm.
you fixed the SI, so that's it. We're done the fixing. Now you can go about your life rather than keep pushing and keep trying to improving. Because I think that's probably fair as well. When I initially got my diagnosis and got out of the hospital, I was ready to just kind of like live life for a while and sit with that. And now over time I've grown to realize, oh, there's more on the table. Let's tackle those things. And then probably once I have my next handful of diagnoses and treatments and medications, I'll probably want to sit with that as well until I realize what else there is to grab.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Hmm. Do you find any power in using your labels externally? Because something I found really empowering is just straight up telling people I'm bipolar and be like, oh, sorry, like I'm in a weird space, or the reason I was acting this way was because I was bipolar and I was manic, or just like literally letting people know that this is the thing I deal with. I found that really empowering.
Mm, so I don't think I was ever ashamed of the label. And especially in the beginning, I think I verbalized it a lot to get used to it as a fact. Kind of like when I got married, I had to like mention that I have a husband a bunch because it felt weird,
Mm.
and it had to become normal in my brain. But again try to like make sure I don't use it in a malicious kind of way where I'm like, oh well, you can't say I did something wrong because I'm bipolar.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's just how I am, right? But
Yeah.
then rather use it as an explanation for something, like I'm sorry if I did said something stupid or didn't treat you just right or whatever, or abandoned you for a little bit. I wasn't doing so well,
Little.
which I know, right?
I abandoned
Um,
my whole channel. I'm sorry, guys. For
true.
14 long months.
Um,
Yes.
um, and then and then you can be like, cool, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
so it helps to give context. Oh shit, my camera just died. Give me a second.
Technical difficulties. If you're not having technical difficulties, you're not streaming. Uh,
True.
Lisa, you bring up this is a very timely combo for me right now. What do you mean by that? Recent diagnosis, or what are you going through? And then Anna Real brings up a good point of, oof, when the tests are like, does this negatively affect your life? And I start questioning to what degree it does, especially since I only know myself. I don't have solid reference points. Exactly. I couldn't agree more. You're like, well, how am I supposed to know? All I know is my own experiences. Am I just complaining, or is this a real thing?
Oh no. Oh, we're back.
We're back. We're back. Nice. That was quick.
My
Quick
camera
turnaround time.
really doesn't. My camera doesn't like being a stream camera. Okay, I missed everything you just said. Can you?
Oh no, I was just talking to the chat. Yeah, I was
Okay.
just chatting with
How's
them,
chat?
catching up with chat. You can catch up with chat if you want to.
Hi, Elise M. And then nothing happens. Is that what happens? You say hello to someone and then there's dead silence. I love
There's a
it.
little bit of dead silence. Yeah, but we're here for the
Nice.
dead silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lisa, you bring up such a good point. I'm really glad that that point hits home. The idea that like solving the SI isn't the only amount of good you can get. Things can keep getting better. I couldn't agree. It's for me, it's really difficult because for the longest time, the SI has been the motivating factor, and now that it's gone, how do I keep pushing forward? Because I've been running from hell for the longest time, but now I'm not. I don't have those old attack dogs behind me, so to speak. I don't have the same like monsters biting at my feet, and so I don't have that same push to keep pushing forward. And now I have to figure something else out. It's weird.
But you still have East, right? Your
Yeah,
concept of a higher self and like this, maybe not the best version of yourself, because that sounds kind of cringe, but that like kind of idealized who you'd like to become one day, right? I
yeah,
think you've always pretty much had that as a goal to strive towards to, which is interesting because I don't think I have that at
yeah.
all.
No,
I
we've
don't I don't
disagreed
think
on
I have
this.
a yeah, I don't have a higher Annabelle to strive towards to.
Yeah,
Um I just want a puppy and I want to be able to provide a puppy with a happy home.
yeah. Those are pretty good goals. But I find with your higher self, it's not intrinsically motivating, right? Like
Or
uh
it's like a mantra that you have to keep telling yourself.
well, there's this study that someone did, and then I'm gonna butcher this study, but they put a hungry
Love
rat
it.
in a tube, and then they put cheese at the other end, and they put like a spring on the tail so it can measure the force that the rat was pulling. And so when you introduce the smell of cheese to a starving rat, it pulls a certain amount of force towards it. But they found that
Mm.
if in the back of the tube you put in the smell of a cat, then the rat would like both cheese and the cat, then the rat would pull like twice as hard, right? And so wanting
Right.
something in life is a motivator, but it's not nearly as much of a motivator as running from something. And when you don't have anything to run from anymore, it can be really hard because what if it's not enough to be motivated by like your higher self or wanting a better life? Like especially when the challenges to get there are can be so massive.
I think that's particular maybe an ADHD problem, but I'm calling everything an ADHD problem nowadays. Is
Yeah.
that just like lack of motivation? Like I will work all night to make sure I can keep my job and don't end up on the street, but will I work in a manner where I can suddenly be a lot more financially successful and secure That's not motivating enough.
Yeah.
Somehow that won't do it. Um, I don't know how people. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah,
You're
that
on meds. You got it figured out, surely.
well, that's the thing that sucks about ADHD is that like the meds help, but
Mm,
only like a little bit, right? Like
mm.
they're like 10% of the way. It gives you like 10-15%, which is amazing. Because
That's awesome.
that's awesome, especially to someone like you. 10-15%, that's huge when you're at negative 10%. Um,
Yeah.
but once you get used to your medication, what then, right? Like
Mm.
then you still have all these intrinsic walls and resistance. And for me, it feels like a repulsive wall, like this thing that the closer I get, the more it pushes me away. That's how life feels, like the things I need to work on. It's this
Mm.
internal resistance that feels tangible.
Yeah. There's a. I think there's a YouTube channel that specifically talks about ADHD and like, what do they call it? They call it a wall of something. Do you know the channel? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of
Okay.
ADHD content. A wall of something though.
Oh, because you've had it for so long, so you don't have to deal with it anymore. Okay, sorry.
I'm no, I'm just not. I'm just not a. Maybe I'm not healthy enough to be actively consuming content about something that I'm struggling with. I probably should watch
It's
more.
it's again this thing where you just over the threshold. So it's not bad enough that you need to consume content, but it's not good enough that you've gotten rid of um the complications of it. Um, maybe I can teach you a thing or two about about ADHD in the next few months as I learn more.
Lisa
Um,
asks, "Is it How to ADHD? Is that the channel you're talking about?"
yes, yes, that's the one. And they talked about this like big wall of I don't know, wall of awful. That's the one. Yes,
Nice, Lisa coming in clutch with the save.
amazing queen. Um, Sophie saying, I feel like I'm in between the two of you when it comes to being motivated by a higher self. I would say I have a higher vision of how I want to feel, which of course includes an elevated version of myself, but not a different version. I'm a self-flagellating, is that how you say it?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Flagellating
I would
by
have messed it
default.
up.
That a higher self lends to perfectionism and frustration. I can relate to that a ton because when I was when I was a wee one, I was obsessed with this idea of the perfect version of myself,
Mm,
like the best version, not perfect, but like the best version of myself, and I would become, you know it, when I'd get this hyperfixation of like I'd go running every day and I
yeah,
would do this and do that and practice every day and be so productive and but really deep down and it was hella destructive and awful for myself because I was trying to become this image of myself that doesn't exist in no parallel universe.
yeah.
Does this version of myself exist? And if she does, she's miserable. um but yeah, there's probably like a good healthy balance of that, right? Where you don't listen to what a perfect Annabelle is, but like what a true Annabelle is, what a true happy Annabelle can be.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's been a hard thing in my own journey towards a higher self is realizing like this integration of your shadow self or the broken parts or your mental illness, like especially when you have mental illnesses, or if, we've been talking a lot about mental illnesses, but we do have several people in the chat that have chronic physical illnesses, and so it becomes really difficult and disheartening when you have to integrate those permanent aspects, and like perfection will never be a thing. And that's something that I've had to really work on, is like, okay, well, I have to accept that East, this higher self, he's bipolar, he has ADHD, like I can't ever get rid of those things. And or my shadow self, or the parts about me that are lesser, I can be an awful person when pushed to, or I have the capacity to be really cruel, and it's like, okay, that part of me exists as well, I need to integrate it. um
Oh god damn it.
Instead of pushing away. Your camera
No.
really does not like you at the moment.
No. Wait, I wonder how long it takes to. I wonder if it's just overheating.
Dr.
You still have
Tracy's
the
YouTube
still of me
playlist is
voicemail.
great by explaining it on an educated way. Okay, I'm gonna throw that up in one of my tabs. Cute cupcake. And Anna Real is right. Every time I say it, it does sound like I'm saying like a term of endearment.
Wait, what? What term of endearment? I'm so sorry for my
Cute
unprofessional.
cupcake.
Oh. She is a cute cupcake, though. I'm back. For how long, I don't know, but I'm here.
Yeah, Lisa, you bring up such a good point. I resonate with what you're saying, but I resent the idea that a physical illness means you can't be perfect. I don't know. It does kind of sound like you're calling them a cutie. Well, Cute
Um,
Cupcake said they get called cute, so probably.
I wonder what perfect means, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, kind of, I don't know. That's why I like the word true better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is a perfect person? That reminds me of this. Did you ever watch Parks and Recreation?
Yes.
Oh, I think we've talked about this
Yeah.
before. Is it actually the Chris character,
The Chris.
Rob Lowe, who's who's like everybody thinks he looks like he's just a beacon of a man, so handsome, so happy, so positive, but he's miserable. But by all measures of human achievement, he would be like at the top. But what does that even mean, right?
Yeah. Oh, stop. I'm blushing so hard. Good. Like a zebra corn, great feedback. You can be perfectly imperfect. We all are. I think that's such a powerful thing coming from you. And I would love to hear more about how you've come to terms with the reality of like chronic illness. Because that's something that I've been very open about not understanding. And it's a huge area of life and trauma and difficulties that people go through that I'm just completely blind to. And so it really does mean a lot when you or Lisa share these elements of what it's like to be chronically ill and integrating that into your own identity, because it is such a weak spot of mine. So
Do you
Aunt,
not have any physical repercussions from your overdose?
I have slight kidney damage, but I mean, it's such a non. I just pee more than I used to. That's literally
That
it.
must
I
be
got
tough.
I got really lucky. I got really lucky.
And
And
yet you have such a shitty water bottle all the time.
yeah, I mean, there's a higher incidence I might have cancer in the future because of the chemical,
Mm,
but whether there are other long-term side effects of taking this, I just won't know for a while. I could
mm,
have cataracts. That's another thing that's a side effect. Is
mm.
early onset cataracts, but it's a very different thing than what other people struggle with, like true
Mm.
chronic illness. Not the water bottle roast. Yes, Layla, the water bottle roast indeed. Perfectionism is a
The,
sorry, go on.
sorry, you go on.
No, no, you
I
can
was just
go.
gonna read. So I was gonna read Sophie's comment.
Oh,
Just so
read
happy
Sophie's.
to. Okay. The root cause of perfectionism is fear for me. So I guess if people who struggle with perfectionism are honest, perfect might just mean enough or safe, both of which are super subjective. Wow.
Otherkins, laugh out
Sophie's
loud.
so
She's eating you
smart.
up. Sophie is smart. A lot of smart people in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, I definitely just felt like not good enough when I wanted to become that best version of myself. Perfect is seen as a word we don't use in my studies because there is no such thing. But also, there's nothing wrong with doing something as okay as you can. True, true. Um, do you find that it's really hard to like forgive yourself if you don't do everything perfectly? Probably not as much anymore. I think that's something you grow out of.
Yeah, I think I've grown at it. I remember I used to really struggle to forgive myself for all the ways I failed in my last relationship and for not being perfect. And then, but giving myself grace that like it was really extreme and really difficult, and I did the best that I can. And even if the best I can wasn't good enough, it's like, okay, well, how do I get to a point where I can do that, and how do I improve? And having grace for myself, what a gross word. No,
How
none
do you
of
feel
that.
about now when you write scripts? Like, at what point do you allow yourself to declare it good enough for a video?
See, that's a really hard thing because my big hang up at the moment is I just don't feel smart enough to take the ideas that are in my head and translate them into a finished product. There's this huge divide between I have a conceptual idea of what I want the video to be about. It's very easy to explain it, but turning it into a video and detailing it, I just don't feel smart enough for it, in all
Oh, every time
seriousness.
I click on one of your videos, I'm like, oof, I'm gonna have to turn to fifth gear to understand what you're gonna talk about in a minute, because those are gonna be concepts.
Kind of like it's if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. That's a good point. My New Year's such a specific remembrance of a New Year's resolution in 2018 was to make more mistakes. Nice.
Can't
Um,
relate. Sounds awful.
yeah, so we're drawing the near the end of this stream. I need to get going around 6 or so. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Are there any other topics that you would like to talk about that are personal to you, or what we've been talking about? How would you like to close out? I'm gonna give you the floor.
Oh my god, I'm not prepared for this. I haven't thought about that at all. I was just gonna like flow with whatever you were gonna throw at me. You're the
Well,
host.
well, how are you feeling? What's this experience been like talking about these? Because you have performance anxiety. How does it feel to be in front of this stream? Like, what are some of those emotions?
Mm, I think it's interesting because performance anxiety might be just what we just talked about. When I perform, like with harp, there's something I'm ought to be, and I'm trying to be that. Like this, an image in my mind how it should come out. And if I don't achieve that, then I have failed. Like if I'm just any bit less than that, then I've failed. Whereas here, I'm not meant to be anything other than myself. I don't think. I don't think you had like huge expectations as to specific points I had to hit or particularly smart things I had to say. I was
Yeah,
just meant to come on and be myself.
that's a good
And
point.
that I could do, right?
Yeah,
If anything, I can be me. So I was very nervous in the beginning, especially when you took forever to bring me on. With every minute that went by, I was like, oh no, oh no.
yeah.
But
I was
yeah,
looking
I
for
think
a
I'm
good
still quite red
transition
in my
point.
face. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. I'd have no idea what chat said the entire time because I talk too much and I can't read, and I don't know how you do it, how you read and talk. But
You
I hope
develop a
you all
skill for
enjoyed
it.
it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry my
Uh,
camera died 10 times.
yeah. Are there any other kind of like final questions you all want to ask, or any other feedback for Annabelle? Lisa M, I really just want to take the moment. You've been saying some really deep and insightful things about your own experience. I just want to take a second to acknowledge it. Disability. Yeah, I don't like the idea that
I'm
because
sorry.
I'm disabled, I can't, laughing at her camera, of course. I don't like the idea that because I'm disabled, can't really be perfect. Not that perfect is what I want to be, but I resent the idea that others are more inherently close to perfect. What a powerful statement, and I can't even begin to imagine that feeling of distance that exists there just because of your disabilities, and then like the permanence of your disabilities in terms of um, even if everything else was perfect, there are still these things that can't be, and that would be a really difficult thing to integrate and contend with. Too long didn't read. We love you, Annabelle. Aw,
Oh
not
my
the
god.
camera dying. The camera's back.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'll get a not shitty camera. It was weird. It worked well for months.
People want you to play the harp, apparently.
Well, that's difficult because harp is downstairs.
Ah, okay.
Um, Go to my Instagram. There's a highlight called music, and sometimes there's harp in the music. So then you get 10-second snippets of me playing harp.
Ooh, yeah. Do you want to plug your Instagram in the chat, or?
Oh, sure. Do I need a link? It's just strings and pedals on
Okay.
Instagram.
Just, yeah, look up Strings and Pedals on Instagram and you'll find her. Otherkins, you bring up such an amazing point. I have this thing where I have these physical disabilities, but you wouldn't know by looking at me. That's an odd feeling. That's a really powerful feeling of having these physical disabilities, and but people assuming that you don't, and then that disconnect that people have when you do tell them, and probably I would imagine disbelief as well. And even after you tell them not being able to comprehend that those disabilities exist and that they're real. Very different context, but like it was really difficult for me to point at my eating disorder body that looks stereotypically really fit and healthy and be like, no, that's a product of a life-threatening thing. And it didn't matter. People just could not comprehend like, oh, that's bad. So kind of a different
Yeah.
context, but that was a really difficult thing to deal with, is just the disbelief or I don't know, thinking disabilities have to look a certain way.
Yeah, probably mostly even if you're young, right? Like we're all relatively young.
Yeah,
And
it
so,
was.
oh come on. Just try harder. Have you tried not having it?
Um, it is a really weird and ableist idea. Ableism is such a tricky thing and so ingrained into society and so normalized and taken for granted. That is one thing that I've worked really hard to be is so grateful, especially after the conversations I have with Lisa or Pega Zebracorn, the absolute sense of gratitude I have for the lottery that I won, that I have the body that I have, and that it is as functional as it is. So people are
Yeah.
saying you did a stellar job. Yeah, Lisa, you're not spamming at all. Jade said thoroughly
Thank
enjoyed the
you.
stream. Yeah, what's the general feedback? I would like to have more of my friends on, more people with their experiences, maybe in the future, subscribers slash community members. What's the general
People with better
feedback?
cameras that don't die.
No, you probably will by far have the most professional setup any of my friends have. By far, you have the best setup. The rest will be like
Uh-huh.
their MacBooks
True. I
or
can't
their
afford a MacBook.
iPhones. Well, what?
Um, I have a friend who, whenever she visits me, she's from Scotland, and whenever she's here, I like she often has to use a wheelchair, and then to actually live through a day with them, like how unhelpful the world really is once you have certain limitations. It's a fucking nightmare. So more than anything, it makes me really angry at the world when
Mm,
I see that. That must be really, really hard because I'd probably feel like really frustrated with the universe and how difficult certain things in life are to access. Like we'll just not know.
yeah.
I
Oh,
love the
cute
stream,
cupcake.
Annabelle. You're great. Thank you, thank you. 100 out of 10.
100 out of 10. That's quite the rate. Ross Anna, thank you so much for stopping by. You don't have to binge any of my videos. Whatever time you give me, I am more than appreciative of it. So I definitely will try to do this more frequently, where I have about an hour of just chatting with you all, and then bring on a friend. Do you want to sign off together, or do you want to do a sign off and then have me sign off? How do you want to do this?
Oh, you do your thing and I'll watch.
Um, I'll let you sign off first, and then I'll sign off.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. I hope that as I say this, the camera shuts off and I don't actually have to say anything. Um, thank you for giving me the space to talk on here. I don't know if any of this was helpful. Or, I think probably relatable, but I don't know if helpful.
Mm,
Um, I love the chat. Everybody is always so nice and kind. You're very lucky that you have such a nice chat.
I do, don't I?
We should all be making fun of you more, really.
Big
But
facts.
yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna run away and hop into chat and make fun of you now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye 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 bye.
Oh, it's just me again. Okay, let's switch over. Transition. Yeah, so shout out to Annabelle. It really is such a big feat to come on and be in front of this many people, especially so many vulnerable people, and talk about things. I just want to give a quick, huge shout out to Annabelle, and then shout out to all you for having such amazing conversations with us, with each other. One of the things that really brings a lot of joy to my heart is seeing you guys all interact with each other and giving each other advice or relating to each other or helping each other out in any way, shape, or form, or just I don't know, the kindness that you've shown to Annabelle, someone who's out of her element. Like, thank you so much for that kindness and uh, just that sense of community. That's really what I want to build. So thank you for being a part of that. So now it's 6 o'clock. I've got some other commitments and people I want to go talk to. So I'm going to end this stream. Thank you, as always, for your time and your vulnerability. Thank you for being kind to each other. Thank you for being kind to me and Annabelle. I am wishing you success in what you are bound for until we see each other again. Bye, y'all.